And just like that, Cowboys Collective. Oh, wow, somebody from Southern Avenue. That's okay. Cowboys Collective episode. What we at, Law? 31?
Oh, I think it's 30, but it could be 31. Episode Byron Jones, I guess. Come on with it.
Let's go. Let's go 30. And this clean slate now.
Episode 1, yay. Come on with it.
Episode 1, yay. John Machota, Law Nation, Footsdaking, and we have a new guest. Now, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna do some housekeeping. Okay. I gotta say this. Everybody, hand claps in the chat for Mr. Skywalker Steele. Unleashed.
Had to do my boom. I'm sorry. I had to, man. Appreciate
it. Give it on.
Yeah.
Can we get claps in the chat? No, we can't go nowhere until we get claps in the chat for Skywalker Steele.
Pause if necessary. Come on with it.
Oh, necessary.
Claps. Give them the claps. Come on.
Crazy, man.
Now. What we're gonna do, we'll address the elephant in the room. We want to wish AOC much love, and we'll just keep it moving. We salute and we also respect him. We all are still in good standing. But that being said, Skywalker Steele is going to he's going to be bringing a wealth of knowledge, a wealth of y'all know what Sky does. If you've tuned into his morning show, if you've tuned into anything that he does, he's a GOAT, and he'll probably be taking over the quarterback role here, so I can get back in my role and be a receiver, be a skill position, and just do my thing. Because I'm an okay quarterback, but I've always said humbly and respectfully, Sky's the best in the world at it, and so
man, all this love that y'all show. But Foots.
Hey,
right now, look, you are a fantastic quarterback. You are the Carson Wentz in 2017. If I got to step in and be Nick Foles and get us the ring, I'll step in.
Damn early.
I'm just saying.
Hey, so you guys know the drill, and Sky, he's actually been watching the show. He's been a fan of the show. Yeah. So anyway, we always start off every show with here's Johnny. Now, this one, I want to let John go, y'all, because I'm not going to lie to you. It was a lot that came from the interview with, not the interview, but obviously Brian Schottenheimer speaking, John, and then the players. So I kind of want to break your segment into two. Let's start with Shotty and the culture shift and everything he talked about. Then I got a few questions, honestly, for you about these players, because I heard a lot, and you guys feel free to jump in.
Right.
Yeah, I went up on Friday thinking we'd see 2 practices and 2 open locker rooms, and that didn't happen because there's some bad weather in the area, and the Cowboys couldn't go inside because they're getting the Ford Center ready for Country Music Awards on Thursday, which if you're a cynic about the Cowboys, that these jokes write themselves. But anyway, so we didn't get to watch Fridays, and then we ended up watching Saturdays, which is fine. But I mean, I've been to enough of these to know that you're not going to get a lot from the on the field work. They signed 9 undrafted guys. They have 9 players that they drafted. They're not in full pads, obviously, shorts, practice and helmets. So there wasn't a lot to get from on the field other than you could tell there was some energy there. So I went in thinking I was going to write all about the players, but in the end, I ended up writing a lot about Schottenheimer just because that was the most noticeable things, the changes that, small little tweaks that he was making, because that was your first time to kind of see him in what'll be like their practice setting. And so that was probably the biggest thing for me, as opposed to saying there was anything great from any individual players or anything like that. And it also, if you had like a top quarterback or wide receiver, that'd be a little bit more on display in that type of setting. Just like, obviously, we joke around about the videos at training camp.
Right.
The ones early in camp pop are the receivers and quarterbacks, because it's that they're not pads aren't on. That's the stuff that's going to stand out more. There's not going to be any big run plays or any big hits and things like that. So, definitely some subtle changes with Brian Schottenheimer now as that coach.
Hey, quick question, John. Were you there when Jason Garrett first got the job and he changed out the clocks in the building?
Yeah, I was. So Jason Garrett's first full season, 11, that was my first season on the beat. So I didn't get any Wade Phillips. So all I can go off of is Jason Garrett, Mike McCarthy, and then now Brian Schottenheimer. And so even going off of that, Jason Garrett, Mike McCarthy always talked at a podium. We went to the press conference on Saturday and there was a table set up, which was new, So I guess Wade talked at a table. I didn't cover them. then, and then Bill Parcells did as well. So just like that was like a little bit different there as well. But no, I wasn't there for the moment when he changed all the clocks, but I was there for his bringing the mannequin on the road and all his other little things like that for sure.
I was just about to ask you, John, what are some of those subtle changes from, McCarthy and Jason Garrett that you're seeing right now with A1 Brian Schottenheimer?
The biggest one is that Mike McCarthy, as head coach and offensive coordinator, he would spend most of the practice time with the offense and mainly with Dak and the quarterbacks. Mm-hmm. Whereas with Schottenheimer, at least the way he says it's going to be and what we saw over the weekend, he's going to be more like Jason Garrett, where he's trying to get around every single group and know what's going on with every single group, which sounds great. And I think it's a great idea. And I think that would be a great thing myself. The only thing I wonder about that is when you're also the offensive play caller, like how much time do you have in the day to do all of that stuff? It's a little bit easier to do that if you're, the walk around head coach, like Mike McCarthy was at a time, like when Kellen Moore was calling the plays, like Jason Garrett was when Kellen Moore was calling the plays and things like that. So it'll be interesting to see how it works out, but that would be the biggest one. You definitely saw him bringing the energy. Music blaring, which music wasn't a huge part under McCarthy. Jason Garrett liked it a lot.
Right.
McCarthy was a little bit more, this is a veteran group. We know what we need to do. I'm not going to baby you guys. I'm not going to try and, do things that I didn't do before. This is the way we're going to set this up like this. This is how we're going to do practice. So there was definitely a little bit more juice for a rookie minicamp than I was expecting. So that was interesting to see. And then there's locker room changes, the most notable one is that Micah Parsons has moved from in a locker spot that's really right next to Kalen Carson to now he's in the middle right next to Dak. And so that's the most notable one. CD was next to Dak, but CD took over Zach Martin's old locker, which is in a real prime spot. It's still in the middle, but he's on the opposite side.
Okay.
And then like Terrence Steele, he moved from where he was kind of by Zach Martin, and now he's on the end. He took DeMarcus Lawrence's spot, and then the other end spot is Osa Digizua. So they try and give like the main spots to like the veterans, the key players on the team and stuff like that. But that Micah next to Dak, that's no accident. That was being done on purpose. That's the face of the franchise. That's the leader you need of the offense, the defense. Those are your team leaders. They need to be the team leaders for this team to be successful. Very clear, especially when I asked Schottenheimer about it, and he specifically said that the players did not have a say in it. That was him and the coaching staff that wanted it.
I love that part of it.
Yeah, you had some good questions, John. I listened to the whole thing, and I just John Machota, and it was good stuff. Hey, John, I want to ask you. This is actually a personal question. Does it feel fake? Because Law brought up Jason Garrett, right? And I definitely want to buy into this. I guess we'll have to wait and see, but I also want to guard myself because I know Sky's gotten on before. Foots don't get too high, don't get too low.
Yeah,
because now a lot of this right kind of guy stuff, and I actually want to talk about some things that Booker said too. But a lot of this right kind of guy stuff is starting to feel a little Garrett-ish. Does it have more dirt around it? Because he did say something, and I read your article. He did say something about, no, they didn't have a choice. I made that change. So that felt like, okay, that's more Pete Carroll than Garrett vanilla. So is it fake? Is it real? Being around Schottenheimer, what is it?
No, I think it's real. I don't have any questions, and I didn't when he was hired about this time of year or the culture stuff or any of that. I do think it's all real. I mean, he's an authentic guy. He's very personable. He is the type of dude you'd want to have a drink with. I mean, he is. I don't think any of this is fake. My only questions will be answered, like I've said before, until Sundays. And it's really how he handles being the head coach and the offensive play caller. That is a lot to do, And so, and he's going to be judged big time on that stuff. If you have some bad games and the offense is real boring and things like that, it's not an easy job to have at those times. Not just because of how big the fan base is, but you got Jerry Jones, who I don't think Jerry will be saying too much early on. I think he's going to want to give Brian as much chance as possible to be successful, but I do think it's authentic. It's not like Jason Garrett wasn't authentic, but Jason Garrett was just
he's old school.
Yeah, and he's a Princeton guy, and I don't know, like
How you
I
doing,
just think
guys?
he's as relatable as Brian Schottenheimer is.
Yeah.
Like,
He ain't have
there
no
are
flavor.
similarities, but I don't see him as being
No seasoning.
there's just, I don't know. Like, I can see Brian Schottenheimer going to get dinner with every single player on the team.
Right.
I don't know if
Let me help you
I
out,
was going to
John.
say I can't see Jason Garrett getting lunch
let me
Greg
help
Hardy.
you out.
But I don't know if that's a great comp. There isn't really a Greg Hardy on this team, so it's hard to compare to those times. But I do think it's authentic, and I think that's what you have to be, because players will see through that. You're around each other too much. So, but yeah, no, this part of the season, training camp, no, Schottenheimer is going to be great. It's on Sundays, will he be great? You know, and that's what he'll be judged on.
Yeah, I just think he's going to bring a lot more flavor because he relates to these players a little bit more than maybe a JG and just like anything, you know, from Pittsburgh tough. You know, he's 60-year-old. You know, he tried. This isn't 2010 anymore. Mike McCarthy. Shotty, you know, he showed off his tattoo last year. He's looking around the league, grabbing some things, trying to be more modern. He talked about relationships and how important that was, and I couldn't agree more, because John, I mean, you saw in that locker room the last couple of years, there was some disconnect after some games where these players would go in front of you guys and talk about how, hey, somebody's playing for themselves, or they'd go on, you know, on podcasts and say, hey man, we weren't coached and put in a certain situation. So there was disconnect that I think Shotty saw from a distance that he's trying to close now when he brings up those 3 C's, and the last one being connection.
Yeah, there's no question about that. I think that there's only so much he could do in the role that he had before now. You know, he's been in the building, so he knows off this last 3 years. One is a coaching assistant, and then the last 2 is an OC. He's obviously seen the things that he probably wants to fix. But even that, like right now, that really doesn't matter. You know, it's how is it after you lose a couple games? You know, how are you handling all that? That'll be the thing that'll be ultimately decide everything. Because and the reason why I think too, I don't have any questions about him like this time of year or any of the other stuff, is it's not like he's like, you know, he's not like Ben Johnson, where it's like, you know, he's still kind of new and he, you know, he's been 25 years as an assistant in the NFL. His dad coached in the NFL forever. Like, he's had his plan ready to go when he got this opportunity. So none of that surprises me, that it looks very organized. The job does not look too big for him or anything like that right now. But I just always keep going back to, you know, the Cowboys have had some good teams under Mike McCarthy, and they've had some good teams under Jason Garrett, but it didn't get done in January. And so ultimately, we can't sit here and say, all right, no more shows. We'll see you guys in January. Let's see if they got it done or not. But ultimately, that's what it comes down to, you know?
Yeah, no. I got a super for you, John.
That's great. But if they don't win on Sundays, it won't matter.
It don't matter. John, I want to get this super really quick, because I think he just wanted to get this out the way. And then I got a few more questions for you. Skywalker, welcome, brother. I think everybody is going to be really excited about having Skywalker still on. John, does Jerry and his son notice that the Eagles are kicking their rear end with the GM moves, chestnut checkers?
I think they do. They're not going to say it publicly, but they believe that there's this
It's a good question.
reckoning that's coming at some point, where like the credit card bill is going to be due for Philly. And
Don't get me
like,
started.
there's people that say that. To me, the hardest salary cap and the numbers and everything for me to understand, and I think most would agree, is the NBA. And there are people that talk about like this might be the last run for this current Celtics team because of the way that the salary cap is and stuff, that they're not gonna be able to keep this group together. I feel like Jerry and Steven, like, and in answers that they've given to questions about this over the last, 3-4 months, act like that's going to happen to the Eagles, where all of a sudden it's going to get to this point. And my issue with that is that they've already had that. Nothing about this team that just won the Super Bowl is anything like the team that, like Skywalker said earlier about, like, with Wentz and Foles, like that. That cruise.
Well, I don't like this guy called me Wentz, and I didn't like that. That was hey John, that wasn't cool.
2011 wins. He was
2011.
He was
John, that was a jab, John.
2017 wins. Yeah, he was
2017.
almost,
I'm sorry, 2017.
Yeah, he was almost MVP that year. But here's the thing, though. Kicking the can down the road is one thing, but the NFL growth pattern is such a big one. that you can absorb some of those losses. And I think that that's where the Cowboys are not seeing, or the front office is not seeing, is that the rapid growth of the NFL and how fast that salary cap is just continuously to grow. And when Jerry Jones still have the old archaic way of thinking of, hey, I like to not talk to the agent, I like to shake the man's hand and have his word as his bond, those days are over with. And you got to figure out ways to move on from contracts. You got to not be personal with those guys. And we're seeing, if Slay played for the Cowboys here, he would still be a Cowboy based off of the fact of what he used to do, But the Eagles look at Slay like, hey, if we going to bring in somebody else, there's the door. And I believe the Cowboys just don't operate that way with their good ones and things like that.
The Eagles operate like if they don't win enough games, they might have to fold the franchise. And the Cowboys operate like, we're not going anywhere.
We got time.
We got time. Yeah.
I mean, and I don't think it's fair to judge them on this, but this is just something that I've noticed over the last few years covering the team. It's like, it's very rare that we go to any of these pre-draft press conferences, any of this stuff out at Oxnard or anything like that, where like you really feel like Steven or Jerry are angry at where things are, that they haven't gotten to a Super Bowl in 29 years, that they're just kind of like, and it's hard to judge that against other teams because they're also, Jerry's such a salesman that it's like he wouldn't want to give that off, I feel like, or he doesn't want to give that type of perception off to make it seem like, oh, this is going to be like, I'm being negative. This is such a negative, like he's this constant positive salesman. Yeah. And I don't think you would get that in Philadelphia if things weren't going well and had been, 29 years since they got to an NFC Championship game. But you just don't really, Jerry and Steven are usually in a pretty good mood whenever you're really around them. I mean, now after losses, right after a loss, certainly not. But like, man, like in the offseason and stuff like that, they're generally, like, you wouldn't know if they went 0-16 or they just went to the Super Bowl.
I think the business side of the organization and the football side mix too much. In Philly, if their general manager does not get it done, he'll get fired. In fact, he got demoted. People forget this. Howie Roseman got demoted when Chip Kelly came on board. And then Chip Kelly obviously didn't get it done. They gave it back to Howie. Next thing you know, they won the Super Bowl. And now Howie's a guy in Philly. So, and he still operates like, damn it, I got to win the Super Bowl or I'm going to get fired. When you say they're in good spirits, it's because the owner and the general manager is one and the same. So he has to be a salesman, right? Because he's not firing the general manager. So I have to get the nation excited to come out to these camps, to come out to these games. In reality, though, is he really putting together, teams to supersede some of these Super Bowl teams in the NFC or AFC? Not really.
Yeah, I just feel like Philadelphia is turning over every last stone, to try and figure something out. Whereas I do think that the Cowboys are trying, but I don't know that they do it to that level. And I think one of the reasons where you see that is you just, in free agency, like we had talked about many times in here, like you just don't see them making that extra push to try and get someone that, hey, it's a little bit above our pay, what we want to pay, but we got to do it because we think this could be a move that puts us over the top. They're kind of set in their ways of this is how we've done it. We're just going to keep doing it this way. And then the thing about the sales part that factors in is that's what's Jerry's greatest strength. So it's not like he can turn that off. That's like what's got him where he's at today. So you can't get him to completely shut that off, even though I think fans would love to see a really pissed off Jerry Jones, like for an entire offseason. Like every time he talked, he was just angry. That is just not in his DNA at all.
No doubt. Hey, Foots, before you go, John, last year when Jerry was in Oxnard, right? It was just three people, me and a camera person. If you would have panned your camera around to the stadium or the stands, you would have just saw me. You'd have saw me up there, John. But Jerry that day said, hey, season ticket sales are all at their all-time height, you know what I'm saying? And Jerry, I said, man, it's just me. You can hear the echoes out there. He's never pissed off for some strange reason.
I do think if they were a basketball team or a baseball team, I think you see it a lot more. But because there's only 8-9 home games, there's such an event in Dallas to go to them. I mean, you can have half the crowd go to a game that might not even really be that diehard of a Cowboy fan or even really care. But it's like, hey, I got tickets because somebody else, or then there's other people that have season tickets who don't even care about going to the games. They sell them because there's the profit to be made off of them. So you're just, that season ticket thing to me, I just don't think that's going to be a great barometer for the Cowboys. Are just, I mean, because of the brand and everything, and that there's 8 or 9 home games, I just don't see a time when you see like the upper bowl empty at AT&T Stadium. It's just not going to happen.
I don't think there's a time where these games will ever be empty. I just think that because national media, another thing is this, national media is going to drive the Cowboys home more than, like, if you're listening to a show like this, it's because you really want to be a smarter fan. National media is going to drive the Cowboys home and home and home to where I just, like you said, and I think I will say this. I sat on and let's transition to now the mini camp and the rookie camp. I sat on a draft show with Sky. And we got almost 400 people in here. Shout out to you guys, man. Skywalker Steele's debut. And Sky said to me, he said, Foots, I know you didn't want to guard. And this is going to tie into free agency and all the things that was said today. But he said, Foots, I'll tell you this. Booker is the most ready to play right now. And I think Dallas they've awarded themselves more than not. Obviously, Mozzie, kind of a Lulu pick. We're still waiting on Guyton. But more than not, Law, they've awarded themselves those first round draft picks. They'll get guys, and they know that that's going to be a guy that'll come in and play a lot of reps early on and be decent. And everything we've heard from Booker has been outstanding. And even with his teammates, I mean, Jaden Blue came out and said, the kid is leading us. So I'm like, a kid leading you, but cool, he's leading us. So, John, now let's get to some of these rookies. Takeaways, because the fans are here for the rookies. What did you hear, see, notice, quotes, and then let's get into some talk about the rookies.
All right, just one thing I wanted to tie in there off something you said. So Mike Sando, who's one of our NFL writers,
a great writer.
He does this thing where after the draft's over, he'll do one that it's all these executives he talks to, and it's the review on the AFC teams, and that came out like about a week ago. Well, the NFC one just came out. And I'll just read you one of the quotes he had on an NFL team executive said about the Cowboys draft. He goes, they got the best guard in the draft, and they got a pass rusher opposite Micah Parsons who can actually win with speed. Their pass rush is going to be a pain in the ass to deal with. The corner they got in the third might have gone in the back end of the first round if he had never gotten hurt. So I thought that was pretty interesting. But there's a couple other execs talked about, how Booker can come in and be a player that can play right away, and that it's not as much of a head scratcher as some might think on the outside.
I want to say this, chat. One thing about Mike Sando, that is a very unbiased take. Like, John is spot on because Mike is ripped the Cowboys. Like, he's on the.
That's from an NFL executive.
Oh, okay, but like for him to even put that out there, did he put that out there, John?
Yeah.
Yeah, I follow Mike's work. He's good. Yeah. He's very level-headed. He's industry standard. So for him to say that, like, I've even had to come around. Like I'm not gonna say I was wrong on Booker because 2 weeks later we're trying to sign every receiver that's played in the game. But I'll text Sky like, hey Sky, and we talked about it. But like you said, he's ready. So what did you hear out there, John, from the young kids?
So again, with them just being in shorts and stuff, it's hard to take a lot away from, especially we're out there probably the first 10, 15 minutes is just stretching. And so there wasn't a lot of like really, other than just see the energy, not a lot of takeaways of like, oh, I think this guy, has got great bend or anything like that. But I will say, and talking to other reporters as well, one of the more noticeable things when talking to the players after was just that Donovan Ezaraku, if you just walk by him in the grocery store, I don't think that you would look at him and go, I bet you this is one of the best pass rushers in college football. Like he is not like that big, huge guy. But as obviously that team exec said, they got a speed rusher, and that's what he's going to get a chance to win with. So that was the one that just, when you see the size of these guys, like obviously Booker, when you stand next to Booker, you're just like, this dude looks like he's an NFL player right away. Ezaraku was more of a, like, I wouldn't say linebacker, but just he's not like a DeMarcus Lawrence or something like that. And so I also think though with him is that he's got a pretty long runway because it's not like they're asking him to come in right away and be a star. If he can, that's great. But they got a lot of pass rush they can get out of Sam Williams, Marshawn Neal, and Dante Fowler and things like that opposite of Micah. So that was just one, just that I standing next to him, you're just like, oh dang, like he's probably like, I don't know what Dane's got it there. He's 6'2",
about 240. Yeah, he's not a big guy. And you see it when he has to use power, when he gets matched with somebody that has power, tackle, what have you, it's tough. He can't run down the middle of them. But that's why I think he developed a tool bag, John. He has one of the deepest bags in the draft, and he uses it very well. But it's so funny you said that because you see it on film. He's not a big guy. He has long arms, though, and he uses that length well. But he's not a strong guy just yet. But get some peanut butter on him next year, and now we talk.
And then in terms of just guys on the field during individual drills, I thought both linebackers, Shamar James, who they obviously drafted, in the 5th, but then also the kid that they signed out of Syracuse, Justin Barron, like he's wearing 55, so kind of makes it Leighton Vander Esch a little bit, but both of them guys were flying around and made you kind of think like, I think at one point knocked one of the coaches over in one of the drills. Like, yeah, they might have something there at linebacker. And I know Todd Archer from ESPN put out the salaries that some of those rookie guys are getting, and Barron's near the top. He's got $20K bonus with $234,000 guaranteed if he makes the team, or is on the practice squad and that. So Barron is second. No, he's tied for first. It's him and Elijah Clark, the Syracuse safety, that have the most money invested in them. And just to give you a comp, I mean, that's where that's usually the guys that at this time of the year, you're like, those guys got the best chance of making the team. That's why they get the dollar amount. For example, last year, Brevin Spanford was at the top of that list, and obviously he made the team, and he was, part of that
Hunter
team.
Lipke.
Yeah, exactly.
What about Wanye, John? Was Wanye up there?
Yeah.
He might have been. I don't remember actually.
So why Holden? Why did Holden not get any money? Do y'all know about any of that?
Yeah, I have no idea. That would surprise me too.
I have a theory, which really isn't much of a theory if you dig in his background. With Schottenheimer preaching a lot about character, right? You go and you look at Holden. He got arrested back in 2023. It was dismissed, but he did get arrested, and then he had a spitting incident.
The spitting incident was rough.
Ohio State. I'd have to imagine, and again, he doesn't control the contracts, but I think he is voicing his opinion more now than, as Jerry Jones said, he's not biting his tongue. I've watched Schottenheimer bite his tongue many times. I bet you did, right? But I don't think he is now. So I wonder if it's character related to where they want him to earn it, which sounds like, with the Oregon program, the head coach there, they had something set to where you had to earn that leadership and that maturity. And it seemed like he did, but I don't know if Shotty looked at that and said, okay, look, you spit on somebody at Ohio State, you got arrested. Let's kind of pump the brakes here and see if you can earn your place on this team.
Well, and then having Junior Adams here is probably the biggest reason that he's in the building. I'm sure Junior Adams, who was at Oregon, vouched for him. But then also that, with talking to Trayshawn on Saturday, obviously he said that was a big reason why it was like, oh, Junior's there. Like, that's where I want to go, So it might have been one of those things where he wasn't that high on the Cowboys board after the draft was over. And it was one of those things where Junior Adams is like, no, this guy's worth bringing in. Like, there's something there. Give me a chance to have him in here and let's see what he can do. And yeah, like that graphic that's up right now, he does. Yeah, like a legit 6'2", 205. And again, this is just standing in the locker room or whatever. So
that's what I like.
So hey, John, we get hold on, don't go nowhere, John, because I'm gonna get my receiver one way or another, Johnny.
Break it down, break it down.
Hey, Scott. So no, and honestly, so chat, jump in, right? Every year around this time is who's the hot receiver that John is posting videos of, and we all go crazy.
It'll be this guy.
Hey, look, and listen, this is why you need to be on the Cowboys Collective, because you can't get this nowhere else. So, John, I honestly want to, not even anything he did, it's what he said and how he looked when he said it. I pay attention to body language. So in his interview, he said, listen, I'm coming for heads. He said that. Right. He said he used those exact words, John. I'm coming for heads, and he had this smirk on his face. Do you think that he looked at this room and said, dog, I'm better than these guys? Yeah. Like, and I know, and this is probably about to sound very crazy, so don't cancel me for this, y'all. I'm not gonna say it. I'm gonna just say this. I feel like he's if you watch him, he is extremely confident. Yeah. I was gonna say something about the spin this, and he should have did that. But he is one of these guys that is so, because I talked to Sky about this. I've talked to you about it, Law. My issue with Tolbert is that I don't think that Tolbert can't play. Right. I think Tolbert's not confident. I don't think he's gritty. I don't think he will mix it up. I don't think he wants to block. I don't think he wants to do the things.
It's a personality complex with him, Jalen Brooks, and Jalen Tolbert. These are smiley, nice guys to help hold the doors. And I'm not saying that being polite is the wrong thing, but we want that grit. We want somebody to catch a first down, and point towards.
Hey, I like this. Hold on. Hey, this was somebody. Sully said, "Oh, I don't want to block Sky." But Sully said he a YN. Yeah, you need a little bit of that, bro.
He's a YN. That's what you wanted to say earlier. Yeah. We need that. We need that aggressive wide receiver. And he's already knowing the program what Junior Adams like out of a wide receiver sets and breaking at the top of the route. And I talked to Junior Adams and he said, I don't want no chicken S at the top of the route. I want you to get really nasty when you get off of your releases. And if you go back and look at his tape, you will see that at the top of his route. So I can't wait to see how this training camp gonna go.
But when you talk about the Jalen firm is what I call it, and then with Trayshawn Holden, one went to South Alabama, the other transferred from Alabama. I mean, that tells you all you need to know about when it comes to confidence and being assured of yourself. South Alabama ain't Alabama, ladies and gentlemen. Mm-hmm. And he transferred for different reasons, and he went to, and I didn't all work out early at Oregon, but then eventually he had a great finish, right? I think he had like 2 touchdowns in the quarterfinals against Ohio State. Yeah. And it was 770 yards. And I think him not having an explosive senior year keeps that chip on his shoulder.
Right.
So I definitely think you'll see him out there, more confident. But can that confidence transfer to trust with this new staff? Because we've seen it. You talked about John posting all that. We've seen the Vashers. We've seen the Dennis Houstons. We've seen all of these guys.
John Veda
transfer.
John Veda.
Exactly. John Veda. We've seen it. Can it transfer to where not just, that's my guy, whatever. No. Do the coaching staff trust you enough to beat out a guy like a Jalen Brooks who's going to run down there and play on special teams? Right. That's what I'm interested to see, because he has the size to play the X receiver. He has the physicality. He can go up and get it. He tracks the ball very well. He's a big play guy. I think it was second in the Big Ten in big plays and like top 15 or 16 in the nation. So it's all there to be kind of that backup X guy. It's just, can it translate with this new staff? And he's got a sponsor. Y'all talked about it, John. You brought it up. He's got a sponsor.
And John, we've been all fooled with the undrafted guys. I remember Andy Jones. They gave him 81, big old boy catching everything. I remember Reggie Davis. He was just catching everything until they put the pads on. So Cowboy
Dennis
Nation.
Houston.
Yeah, Dennis Houston. He was one of those other. Hey, he actually made the squad, right? Yeah. Starter, But it's crazy how Cowboys, we will roll with an undrafted guy if they've proven themselves or make the highlights during the auction.
Here's why I think. I really do. I really do think Holden's different. Is because we've seen him on the big stage, and like when you do it against Ohio State, and then you turn around and you do it against some of the other Michigan. I mean, he had a route against Michigan. I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. You know what I mean? Like, this is high level stuff. And I think he's actually a big slot. So, John, you're saying that he looks the part, correct?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, if he looks the part, guys, and Scott, let me ask you this. You like him in the slot or you like him outside?
I would like for him to be outside.
I think he's better in the slot, though.
I think he can be a power slot.
Slot.
I 100%. The league is kind of transferring into that anyway. There's a lot of power slots. I think Puka can do some of that. Cup can do some of that. Godwin was one of those guys.
But that's where CD wins too.
But CD's also considered that. But CD can go everywhere. And I think what's about to happen in this scheme, and I've been kind of 10 toes on this. I think you're going to see this scheme look more like the Shanahan, McVay's, McDaniels types, where it's going to be a lot of pre-snap movement. You're going to see that he talked about it, condensed formations. These receivers are going to try to trip up guys in that second level. So when we talk about slot, I don't think it's traditional Jason Garrett, Mike McCarthy slot anymore. All of these guys are going to be in the slot at some point, maybe more often than you think. So, yeah, I mean, he could be in there as a power slot, but he's not. Don't think of it as a traditional slot now.
Scott, do you see Mingo playing the Y, and then, the other positions can be flipped between the others? Because I'm talking about Mingo being close to the LOS, being like that wide receiver, that one that can just be on the line and then get off of it, and then your X receiver /Z can be the between Trayshawn And I'm saying that he's going to make the team, y'all, but I'm just saying from his skill set and CD Lamb, you think that could be the situation?
I think we got to go out. They have to go out there at camp, and they're going to throw these guys everywhere to figure that out. I don't think this staff really has an idea just yet, because none of these guys, in my opinion, outside of CD, have done what they're going to be asking of them, except maybe we've seen Tolbert do some of that, crackdown block stuff, because these guys don't have to block, by the way.
I do not like Tolbert blocking, bro. I'm glad you. Right. Oh my God! I hope he throws that out of the playbook. He was terrible as a blocker.
He's going to have to. He's going to have to. Mingo can do it.
Yeah.
He'll stick his
holding no block. Holding no block.
Yeah. So I just think they are going to be asked to do things we haven't seen them do consistently. So I can't give you an answer that Mingo's going to play X, Y, Z and be good or bad at it. We got to see, man.
Well, McCarthy used to, I guess what it was, he would insert Tolbert on linebackers. And I was like, maybe that was a play calling thing. And I didn't like that. Like, do that with Mingo, a bigger body.
But bro, who else? Cooks?
Yeah, I know. But that's why I don't like those little guys. No, you're right. Yeah, hey, listen, that's what I want to, that's going to be fun there. And so I'll say this. I will say this. You got now 2 skill positions should be unbiased battles. Now we got plenty of time to talk about it, but you should have an unbiased battle at receiver. Right. If Guy says the same, and you better have an unbiased battle at running back. I'll watch your content today, Sky, on Blue, and I'm just telling you, when you talk about a change of pace, it's going to be a change of the seasons when he come in and run the ball from between him and Javonte Williams. So, all right, and now I want to ask you this. Back to some of these draft picks. Were you there, John, when Booker was talking? Because he had some really good things to say.
Yeah, no, he reminds me a lot of Tyler Smith in that, there's probably about a decade where the Cowboys offensive linemen really didn't want to talk very much and show very much personality. And then Travis Frederick definitely did. And I think that loosened up Zach Martin a little bit. And then Tyler Smith came along and I was like, wow, and
he's really smart.
Yeah, he hasn't changed a bit.
He's a genius.
Really nice guy. Always wants to talk things, and obviously all about his business. And Booker seems like the same exact way. Just very polished. Booker to me, like I think I said on the previous show, it's almost like a LeBron James thing where you just know that he was kind of being groomed to be a professional athlete at a very young age. Like he just checks off every box of, whether it be the media side, whether it be the way he carries himself, walking around to practice, all of that. I'll be surprised if this pick doesn't hit. I'll be,
wow.
I'll be
coming from you.
Yeah.
Well,
another one I wanted to mention though, just because I got it marked off on my list. I forgot to say it earlier. Savone Ravel. He definitely
we was gonna get to him.
He was doing more than I thought he would be doing. He did some stretching with the team, and then he did the resistance cords.
Right.
And he was moving really well. So the idea of, the Cowboys have said him starting training camp on PUP and then eventually coming off of it, I think that's realistic. I don't think that's, Jerry trying to talk up Jalen Smith type situation. I think that there's a real possibility that happens. And really, I don't think that they've been off on. They've pretty much said even on Diggs that he might not be ready for the start of the season. They've said the same thing with Overshown. I don't think that they've falsely sold any of this injury stuff. And so, I mean, like I said, he was doing more than I expected him to do. And he certainly does look every bit of the 6'2" long corner that they usually target in the draft. So he'll be one of the bigger stories at training camp whenever he's able to get off that PUP list, because obviously all eyes are going to be on him. But he was doing more than I thought he would.
Let's stay right here, guys. All of us. So, John, I think that's real. I think that he got injured in November, correct? Or September? 4 games in. I think it was.
Might have been September. I know it was in practice.
Okay, so yeah, he played 4 games this year. Yeah. So, but the fact that I've heard from a couple people that he's moving with how you could tell somebody's still injured when they're moving, and you could tell they're favoring it. I heard, yeah. I heard John, and now you're confirming this, that he didn't look like that at all. It was bouncing around. I think he may be ready for training camp, y'all. That's 3 months away.
Yeah.
I could see them just not having him do any stuff with pads and that, and kind of ease him in early on. But yeah, I mean, if he's cleared and everything checks out, why not? I mean, they're going to need him, unless they go and make another move at corner. But if they go,
I'll still pick up the phone and call it up for a veteran. I heard some positive reports even on Josh Butler.
I was going to talk about that. Yeah.
What's your thoughts? You got a chance to see him walk around. Do you think that he's ready to be ready for training camp and beyond?
I don't know. That's tough for me to say. Maybe.
Late.
Yeah. Maybe. I didn't really see much of him, so I'm not 100% certain on him, but it sounded pretty positive, at least what Schottenheimer had said. But yeah, I don't know when he'll be back.
Okay. So with Butler, he actually tweeted out something too about Schottenheimer, basically saying like Schottenheimer has been the real deal as far as because basically Nick Harris has said something about that Nick said that Josh Butler's timeline was looking ahead of schedule, and Josh got under the tweet and said, "Yo, like, yeah, you know what I mean." And so that was like awesome to hear. And I just think that now I want to talk about the room and talk about what this looks like, because I could see a world where, let's say he comes back the second week of training camp, John, and things are going good. He's working his way through, and like, what would the room? Let's say they don't do anything, which. When you talk about the Cowboys, we don't know. What do you guys see the room looking like? Do you see him starting day one? Do you see them easing him in and I'll start with you, Scott. Like, what do you guys see the room looking like game one, day one? Let's say if all things clear.
Man, I sure as hell hope this isn't the end all be all, man. I hope they go and do the Everson Griffin route, right? In July, they go get somebody. Who was it? Jordan Phillips was last year. Every year it was Malik Hooker was a guy. So every year, just go look at the history. Every year there's a veteran that gets brought in here at a position that they say, hey, let's let these young guys battle it out, see what we like. 9 times out of 10, they don't like it enough to trust it. I don't think you can look in that room right now, my opinion, and say, let's trust it week one and roll it out there. But to play along with the game here, Foots, if this is the room, I think you got to go with Savon Ravel on the outside if he's available, Deron Bland likely on the outside, and see if Kalen Carson can play some slot. I personally thought it looked like coming out of college. Now we got real film of him in the NFL, but he fit the part of possibly being a career nickel, which is not a bad thing, by the way. I coming out of college, he was aggressive, physical, could tackle, but then he got into the league and he wasn't aggressive, he wasn't physical, and he couldn't tackle. So maybe that was a confidence thing. I don't know. Yeah. I know Kyer Elam's a possibility. I'm not putting Kyer Elam on the outside to deal with wide receiver ones. I'm not doing it. Letting Deron Bland right now. So for me, it'd be Ravel, Bland, and battle it out for that nickel slot. I think Carson could be a fit.
You know what, on that, I think the Cowboys should also look at it like this. When do the schedule come out? I'm not saying that you look
May
far down the schedule.
24th.
Yeah, when that schedule come out, and if you have week one, the Eagles, you just don't throw a Siobhan Revo out there against AJ Brown. I just don't think that you would do that against Smitty. What you have to do is, because DBs, it's all about confidence, and you can either lose it or you can gain it within one game. And I'm not saying you count teams out and you look at teams lightly in these sorts of things, but you want to at least start off good. So I think that the Cowboys, based off of their schedule, whenever it comes out, they need to have a veteran already in the building.
So then, Law, who is the sacrificial lamb that's going to get their confidence busted week one if that's the case?
Jeez.
I'm just serious, because who is it? Bland, we know Bland can bounce back.
Bland can bounce back.
So and he's our cornerback one, but there's going to be somebody that's likely going to get their ass busted if you're going up against that wide receiver room. So I'm hoping that they have a strong enough will and ability to bounce back that, okay, they might have a bad game, but they can't let that affect them. That's why I hear what you're saying.
Right.
What choice do you have? Put the most talented player out there.
I think Savon, based on his makeup, you guys got to think. We got to talk about the character now, right? Of Rebel. Yeah. So it's a guy who's working at Amazon. Right, he ain't got nothing to lose. You see what I'm saying? Like his journey a little bit different, and that's so okay. If we want to talk about the difference between Jason Garrett and then we want to talk about Brian Schottenheimer, and then type of guys. When you get a guy who had this type of journey, who's battling back from an injury, who's been through stuff, some of these guys have had things handed to them. Oh, they were always a 5-star. They was always a 3-star. They was always a 4-star. They've never had to compete. But this is a guy that went to ECU, had NIL deals, and was like, "No, I'm gonna stay at ECU because I'm the work." So his mindset, I'm pretty sure after battling with CD, because there's going to be some one-on-ones with Lamb, and he's going to get him. Not saying that he's going to go out there and lock A.J. Brown, although I think he's a perfect corner for A.J. Brown at his peak. He's a perfect corner to defend A.J. Brown. If Rebel's at his best and A.J. Brown's at his best, I'd rather have him guarding A.J. Brown and Bland chasing around Smitty. Yeah, but I think the thing about corner is, guys, because, all right, this is what I'm going to say draft-wise. I have him as a higher rated prospect healthy than Trevon Diggs, just being honest with you. Diggs was a second-round pick for a reason. He didn't want to tackle. He wasn't that – he was okay. Diggs was a really good player, but I didn't have a first-round grade on him. I had a first-round grade on Savon Ravel. So the thing is, Law, it's either you damned if you do, damned if you don't. Because if you put Elam out there, he probably getting barbecued anyway. So you may want to start that process if you don't bring in a guy. That's my little rant.
I think their hope is that this is going to be an improved pass rush and that it's going to help out those corners. So I think that's where when you use a second-round pick on Ezraku after you had already signed Fowler and you have Sam Williams and Marshawn Nealon, like they clearly want to make that the strength. Like that is going to be their best thing that they have there. But I mean, if I had a bet right now, I would say Elam works his way into that lineup week 1, unless they make a move, because I don't think they look at Elam as anything but an outside, and I don't see Ravel doing that. So who's going to be on the inside? And that's where they think Bland is best. So, I mean, now if you go and you work out Elam in training camp and he's not like playing at the level you want him to, and you think if he's more of a backup or whatever, maybe that's when you go make a move for Stephon Gilmore or some type of veteran that's not signed and is kind of waiting, whatever, that just can be a solid player for you. But as they have it right now, like Kalen Carson would have to beat out Kyer Elam for that other starting spot for Elam not to be a starter.
Are we underrating? Go ahead, Sky.
No, that's fair because Carson doesn't have a sponsor either. Right. Technically, Elam is this, and this is crazy, guys. We've had 3 defensive coordinators now in 3 years. Right. In prior to Eberflus, you even had holdovers from the assistants, which that's just a mess. You can never have consistency defensively if that's how you're going to be. True. But technically, I think John's right. Elam is their guy because they traded for him with this regime. So I didn't even really think about that. And hey, yeah, give him a shot, obviously, especially in a vision-based defense. Maybe he's a little better, but I mean, we talked about this, Foots, when we broke down the corners. His tape was uninspiring. Like, I really tried. Early on, it was like, oh, man, nice little break. I think it was the first game. He almost had a pick six. Yeah. And then the rest of it was just, I was really uninspired. So I'm hoping you get Eberflus in here, you get a better pass rush, like John said, and the confidence factor, because he sounds like a confident guy. Yep. He sounds like, and even the Bills general manager said, man, I did a disservice. He got beat out by the 6th-round pick, and we kind of just was like, I bet let's roll with the 6th-round pick, and they never really looked to do anything with Elam. So maybe that's the guy, but I think what they're going to do is what John said. They'll get there, let them battle it out. If they don't like what they see, come July, expect to see a veteran up in here.
Another nugget too, Law. Savon is actually really good for his size in zone. I think that people don't give him enough credit. And zone off, man, because I want to see more of it. Yeah, you're right. But so here's my thing with him. He wants to beat you up at the line of scrimmage, but he'll also play off, man, and he has some breakability. Yes. And so what I'm thinking is now what we'll have to see is with the knee, can he break on footballs? Because I'm gonna tell you right now, Matt Eberflus isn't giving you as much cover 3. Thank God is Dan Quinn. He'll actually mix the coverages up in the back end. He's going to be a lot more Mike Zimmer than Dan Quinn, just man all game, which you can't, bro, with as good as these receivers are, this just scheme talk, y'all. You can't ask corners to chase. Diggs struggled with that. Like, you can't ask these corners to chase these guys around all game.
Shavon did lament it, the fact that he is cutting on that knee. So
Yeah, I heard that he was trying to do something as well.
So I was like, okay. All right.
I want to ask y'all something. Do we completely given up on Carson, or is there a chance that he can make a jump?
I want to see him compete in the slot.
You got to just have him a good.
You like him in the slot, Sky?
Yeah. I want to see him compete there. He didn't get a chance because DeRon Bland got hurt so early. They had to throw him out there. I'm not saying that he was going to play slot anyway, but I just look at that as a potential home for him. But I'm curious to see his confidence because it was way more Anthony Brown than it was DeRon Bland. What I mean by that is when AB got beat, you physically saw it on his face and his body language. Y'all remember the game against the Raiders? He was huffing and puffing and throwing his hands. Bro, get back.
Yeah, get yourself together.
Yeah, with DeRon Bland could be, I bet, pick 6 the next game. You know, the same game he got whooped against DK Metcalf. What happened? He got an interception. He got an interception. So I want to see if Carson can have a little bit of that to him this year. But yeah, I want to see him compete in the slot because
and they got him up off of DK. They got him on.
They got him up off.
They got him up off. but Bland was always like that. If you go all the way back to the preseason game and Jackson Smith and Jigba, he got him real bad in the end zone corner, and it was like he was down a little bit, but then he picked it back up the next day in practice, whatever. So confidence is the key for these DBs, but I still have a big reservations for that secondary room. I just think you need to get a veteran.
Yeah, John.
What about inside, John? Like one text. I know it was just rookie camp or what have you. Do Jay look the part?
No, he does for sure. I mean, I think that he'll be a factor probably early.
You think he makes the team?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Damn, they ain't cutting their draft picks number 1.
Yeah.
But didn't they cut Rodgers that 1 year, Sky?
That's the first time since 2017, brother.
I hope they don't do that again, bro.
I mean, they may.
I would be surprised
do it more often, honestly. But
I'd be surprised if he doesn't make it. I mean, right now I feel like it'll be him and Mozzie as your run stoppers, and then Solomon Thomas and Osa. If you're healthy, then those are your 4 D tackles that are going to play on Sunday. And then after that, then that's when you work in some of these other guys. But yeah, no, he obviously he looked the part. I mean, he's a huge dude. Same deal with Tommy King Basote. Same deal. He'll work into that mix too. He's 6'4", 306. King Basote is so. They look the part, but again, they're not like going against offensive linemen and doing any moves or anything like that. That would make you, and certainly the problem with the way that these practices are structured. Now, obviously, it's going to keep the players healthy, but like you really don't even see any of that until like the second week of training camp when they actually do the drills, when they're in full pads with the running. That's when you'll get to see what you really have in those defensive tackles. So right now, it's just like they always say, the underwear Olympics. So
I was about to say. It's bad when the head coach says that.
Right. Yeah, no. That's the thing. But our bosses want us to like come up with all these interesting takes off it. And you're just like, the product they're putting out there is not like, I just can't lie. I hate that phony stuff of just being like, yeah, this guy, I'm telling you right now, there's nothing I saw from Micah Parsons in his rookie minicamp that I was like, oh, just wait till you see him rush the passer. They got one here. Like there was none of that. Nobody was saying anything like that. And you really didn't know it until you got to training camp. But it's nice that, hey, this is your first time you get to see these guys. They all seem to be good spirits. Seemed like they got a good draft class. Jason Garrett, right kind of guys, it seems like. So we'll see what happens with it. But yeah, I still would say I'm with Law, and I wouldn't hate them bringing in another veteran corner. And then obviously they still got to do work on that number 2 wide receiver. I just don't believe that. I don't believe these are the wide receivers they're going in the season with. I mean, you can't sit there and say you're going to take Tet McMillan at 12 and then not get him, and then all of a sudden be like, nah, we were good. No, you were just going to take a wide receiver 2 at 12. Like, you can't tell me you don't need it. You can't tell me it's just a luxury. This is not a roster that can afford luxuries, So you've already showed your hand by showing the interest you had in him. So they can let it play, and it might not be something until they might be like, hey, we're going to go to camp with these receivers and we're going to figure it out. And we'll see what we got there. And then we'll add some veteran. Maybe they slow play it or something like that. But like week 1, I just do not believe that this will be by week 1, I believe that there will be a wide receiver on this team that's currently not on the roster.
Come on.
And I think it should be.
a veteran cornerback and a veteran defensive tackle. They got some work to do, John.
Yeah.
Hey, and shout out to a few content creators in here that are doing great work. I see Jay Tuck. I see Cowboys Fan Talk Rome.
Hey.
And we see all the comments, man. And I got to tell you guys, almost 550 people in here. It's gotten up there, man. Let me tell y'all something. What a great show tonight. Now, I'm going to say this. I want to ask, definitely all that, man. And Sky going to be doing some production stuff, so just get ready. We're going to put him to work. He coming to work. Hey, Johnny. I want to get spicy. Hey, so look, when we start off, because what I got planned for us, right, is to do, we did our pre-draft roster breakdown. So we'll start going over the depth chart position-wise, and we'll go offense and defense. So I don't know if we'll start that next week because we didn't really get to any undrafted free agents, and there may be some more news that comes out. But I want to talk about the receiver room real quick. Since let's be honest, like, you know, okay. Let me frame it like this. When you, I can honestly say, when John said Tyler Smith, I keep forgetting Tyler Smith is on his team. Like, he's such a humble, like, you really forget how good, how quiet, how he just does his job. I always forget that Tyler Smith. It's like, dog. So now you have Booker, Smith, Beebe, like those three. I'm cool. Like, and even with me wanting to get a receiver, I'm cool with that right there. For Dak, we're good. We need guy. Come on, guy. So anyway, but now we talk about receiver because you let the draft come to you, right, John? Oh. Right, Sky? Now you do need a receiver. It is what it is. Where are we looking? Because I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna just come out. I'll probably get tomatoes thrown at me. I don't know if I want Amari Cooper, guys. I don't know if he's still that. And maybe I should have saved this because this might be fireworks. I'm looking like go find a receiver on the Bucks. Go find a receiver on the Packers, on one of these rosters that went receiver. Like the Packers have like 5 guys and they got like 2s and 3s that are better than some of the guys we have. Like where are we getting this receiver from? Because Keenan Allen, I would actually not be mad at Keenan Allen. I want Keenan Allen more than I want Amari Cooper. I just don't know if Amari Cooper still got it. Just being real with y'all.
Maybe, you know, maybe he doesn't love the game as much anymore. I think there's 2 tiers that you're looking at. I think you're looking at the just upgrade from what you got, right? Go out and get, you talked about, I like McMillan. I think he's an upgrade to what you got, but I don't think he is going to dictate the defense. I think a guy like Rashad Bateman, I saw him going around. I think he's an upgrade to what you got, but I don't think you're going to have defense and say, man, we got to double team this guy. There's other guys, you know, even Amari at this point in time, like those type of guys, Keenan Allen, those type of guys, I don't think are going to shift the defense and how they play per se.
This is a good name.
So Max. For me, Alex Pierce is another guy.
Yeah, that's a good name. That's a name. That's a name, Max. Good super chat. Good name.
So to shorten this thing here, I think there's 2 tiers. There is that tier that those guys are going to upgrade the room. I'm greedy. I want to greedy. I want to get aggressive. I want to get a motherfucking dude.
Come on, a guy.
Because other teams have dudes. So I'm picking up the phone. I know the Joneses aren't. Let's just pretend as Vosh would say, I own the team. I'm the Joneses. I'm calling around to the Jetses of the world, right? I'm trying to get the Pittsburghs of the world, the Jameson Williams. I'm trying to get some dudes in here opposite of CD Lamb. And if I can't do that, right, like I'm gonna shoot for the stars or shoot for the moon and then you land on the stars or something like that. Then I'll settle for the other guys. That's all I'm saying.
But Scott understand the cost that is involved for real.
And I'm willing to give it up. I'm willing to give up the capital.
Does it concern you guys at all that this could be like the early years of Jason Garrett trying to establish the run, play defense, and that there is not a concern about that wide receiver 2 as we are? Because I think there could be a possibility there that he could come out the gate and want to just run the football more than we think, play good defense, and then, hey, maybe if one of these receivers come along, we'll do it, but we don't feel like our hand is forced. And so maybe that drags all the way, like I said, to training camp when like there's some teams that are like, hey, we got a guy that's our number 2 or number 3 that we like him, but if you're willing to give us a pick or something, we'll move off of him or something like that. Like maybe that's where they.
Well, then give me prime Terrence Williams. Give me prime Terrence Williams. That's gonna give me 808 tutties next to Dez Bryant's 14 and 12. You know what I mean?
That's Jalen Tolbert.
Stop it, John. Here we go.
John.
John, he being spicy.
He obviously can get to the 8.
But you're right. He did have 7 last year, like 700.
No, I'm gonna tell you something. Hold on, John. I'm not gonna let you get away with that. No. If you're gonna do that, you better have Ezekiel Elliott back there, and we don't. Like,
see that done now.
Yeah, and here's the thing, John.
I'm not coaching the team. You don't want me coaching the team. Travis Hunter would be on the team right now. Don't
You'd have moved up and got him.
Me problem.
Yeah.
This is John, Spicy John. I got him.
I'll be honest with you, we probably don't have Revel if I'm.
Because you said I'm moving up
in the 3rd. So
it's
on me.
The Dallas Machotas.
So I'll say this. No, in all seriousness, John, I think that Schottenheimer would be a fool to do that. Here's why. You can run the ball. You're going to be able to run the ball with this line. Like BB moving people, double teams. You're going to be able to. But the issue will be this. I think you'll see issues in the red area where things get tight and you need another weapon or you need another piece to be able. I think Pierce is a great name, Law. Pierce is because they drafted they drafted the Texas kid last year, which it didn't hit. They drafted Tyler Warren this year. Like they got pieces at receiver, and then like their roster's loaded, and Pierce may just be forgotten about. Do you give up like a 4th? We love to give up our 4th. You give up a 4th, go get Alex Pierce. Do you get something like that? I also think, I have kind of bought into the Mingo. Here's what I say about Mingo. Because there are going to be people who say, well, why would Carolina give up on him? And John has that smirk on his face, so he's probably
I just
people.
wonder who you think is going to have better numbers next year, Tolbert or Mingo?
I say Mingo.
We'll go straight fantasy, like on the touchdowns. We'll do a PPR. We'll go receptions, receiving yards, and touchdowns. You think that Jonathan Mingo is going to have more fantasy points next season or this upcoming season than Jalen Tolbert? Because I do.
If healthy,
have you guys seen a picture or a video or anything of Dak Prescott this offseason where Jalen Tolbert wasn't with him?
I was just about to say.
But that's politics, though. That's politics.
Dak has said it himself. He just said it last year during training camp. He's like, usually that receiver that I spend the most time with in the offseason, that's the one that I'm telling you, like he's already said.
Politics, John. I don't like that.
No. I don't think that part is politics because there's real life chemistry. Right, the Dak has had real life chemistry with Jalen Tolbert to the point he freaking targeted Jalen Tolbert on a 4th down on the road in Philly to help win the game. Right. So,
I don't like this though, Sky. I don't like that. I don't like this.
I'm gonna be mad at Dak if you don't give my guy Mingo a shot.
You may not like it. But if Jonathan Mingo cannot get on the same page with Dak Prescott, he's not going to be out there. So Jonathan Mingo, Unchained, the Django, Pink Flamingo, Tolbert 5.
Tolbert 5.
So in closing, because this has been a banger. Yes. Claps in the chat for Sky's inaugural. Here's what I wanted to say about Mingo real quick, though. I think where the Panthers were because of their quarterback play and just – they don't have a guy like Dak who can elevate a guy. Like I think running Mingo across the middle of the field, he's a big body. He's great after the catch. All that stuff he did at Ole Miss. I think some of that is there. I mean, dog, he ran right past Quinyon Mitchell.
Is he
Cooper
a little bit faster than Tolbert?
Yes, he's football faster. Yes, he's faster than Tolbert. I think the thing is, he's also a confident player. Like this is what I want, John and Sky. Man, go find me a play where Tolbert has broken a tackle. Like if it's not CD making somebody miss after the catch, there's literally nothing. It's like when Tolbert catches the ball, it's a tackle, or he's going down, or he gets hit, and you just like, please don't fumble. So I'm just like,
let me tap into my messiness real quick.
I'm not going against you on this. I'm just telling you.
No, you are, John. You are.
They don't got like prime TO.
Well, you should have traded up for McMillan, John.
We're comparing this to Mingo, so that's why I'm saying like he's gonna have more fantasy points than Mingo this season. You just watch.
Foots want us to go find some tape of Jalen Tolbert breaking the tackle. Go find me some tape of Jonathan Mingo scoring a touchdown.
Spicy Sky. Fitz only took one show.
Man, come on.
No, but I just okay. This is I'm scared.
The Panthers. Cooper Rush was a quarterback in Dallas.
I know. He overthrew him, Sky, on that. He overthrew him on that.
Yeah.
He beat Quinyon. We got blown out. Here's what I'll say.
Who did Tolbert beat on the touchdown?
Oh,
John Spicy.
Johnny. He did beat Johnny.
He did. He did.
I was at the game. It was the only touchdown there was.
Oh my God!
So hold on. Tolbert, hold on. I want everybody in the chat to write this down. Today's date. John has said Tolbert 1,000 yards, 10 touchdowns. Oh. He might even have more. He might even have more touchdowns than CD. This is John Machota saying this. We're good. Let's close the show. No, but guys,
I can see him having similar numbers that he had last year.
Hey, all jokes aside, man, I do think Mingo has some traits, especially if we can utilize him in a move. Yeah. Like if we can utilize him 15 and under, and then you bust him over top of the head with a play action and get deep. He definitely is better at breaking the tackle. He definitely has that kind of in-game breakaways. When I say breakaway, like pull away on crosser type situations, he's more of a strict scheme fit. I think you have to scheme him. Where Tolbert was in a scheme the last couple of years to where he wasn't scheming nobody. He just had to go out there and get it from the mud. So if they do open up the scheme to Tolbert too, I think he could be productive.
Yeah.
And Stevie Mack in the chat said I heard Michaud also say that. He would have 7 sacks. I can guarantee you never heard those words ever come out of my mouth. Never.
I love Spicy John. This Detroit, this 8 Mile John right here. I'm telling you. Man. This is 8 Mile. We got to get a meme of John with the Eminem. I am right. I am an effing bum. All right. Anyway, guys, listen.
Hey,
what a great
on Ron Flournoy, though. Go ahead.
I know. You know what's crazy? Flournoy is the one who you would hope. So this is what happened last year. Maybe it's a Mike McCarthy thing. He had the great preseason and just was like, no chance. They didn't even play him. Yeah. So I don't know, Law. Like, that's the scary part, that a guy could go out, do everything he needs to do, and they still won't play him. I don't know if I'll say this, John. That's why I said, is some of this stuff believable? Because Shotty said, doesn't matter where you got drafted. He said these things. What are you going to do now? Actually, I read that in your piece, or one of those pieces we talked about the undrafted free agents. Like, yo, what are you going to do now? Well, how are you going to get on the field? So let's pray that it may be the best man winning, and it's no politics. I definitely know it won't be politics in the running back room. Like in your piece today, Scott, I do think that Jaden Blue, I think has the most juice right now, and easily. It'll be about the other things, the pass pro, the knowing the scheme, the fumbles, but that should be an unbiased battle. Will receiver room? I don't know. So. But anyway, man, y'all got anything else before we go?
Sponsor graphics.
Oh, yeah, man. Look, it was such a good show. I completely forgot about the sponsor. Hey, speaking of which, I've said this for a long time. This team needs to be good. This team needs to be good right now. I would definitely take this. I would definitely. He moved under. That's why Sky gonna be doing production pretty soon. Don't worry about it. I don't. Listen,
Nick Foles. I'm just.
Hey, listen. Bench me. Listen. When we come back after training camp, this thing gonna be buttoned up. Yeah, if you with us now, the plans we got for the Cowboys Collective in season, it won't be a show that could touch this. I'm telling you, it won't be a show that could touch this. Hopefully, you guys bet US. I would take this play because I think Dak Prescott will get you this. Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb are good enough and where they are to get you this. So I would take this play by Bet US. And again, guys, first show was Skywalker Steele, and we at 550, 530. We've been hovering some numbers. Only thing I want to say is, can we get the likes up? Golly, what's going on?
Likes, man.
Can we get our likes up, please, y'all? But elbow on that. But again, this will be the only place that you guys can get John Machota unfiltered. He's on the scene and he's giving us heat.
The 8 Mile John.
8 Mile John different.
That's chicken. Like,
listen,
John we getting, baby.
When he said, you definitely never heard me say Mozzie, I said, oh my God. Oh, 8 Mile John. But we will see you guys on Thursday. We'll probably get started on roster breakdown.
Hold up. We got some Duke hate come here. Duke was in the Final Four. The Cowboys haven't been in the Final Four in 29 years.
Oh my God.
All right, John. That hurt.
John, that hurt everybody. John, that hurt everybody.
Below the belt, man. John,
you covered the team. Wait a minute. No, you didn't.
The team, but I'm a fan of Duke.
Oh, wow.
Y'all asked for it.
Oh, the North Carolina versus Duke.
How did I start this? The chat started this. Take shots at the Devils. I'm going to defend them.
John said,
I don't have the patience to jack with you today.
He ain't messing with John.
Oh, my God. Cowboys Collective, y'all. Much love. Make sure you guys tune in on Thursday. We will be back. Hopefully, we got some. Is anybody talking this week, John? Any more? Is it any
No
OTAs, anything?
No.
And when is the
Country Music Awards Thursday?
Oh God!
No.
Hey, when do the veterans merge in with the rookies? When do they have that? What date?
Well, so we will get back out there. It's I believe it's May 19th.
Okay, that'll
be the next time that we're out there.
2 weeks.
Yeah.
So we'll start our roster series on Thursday, and then next week we'll start with the offense, looking at it from the draft perspective, how it looks now, what we need to upgrade. Then we'll do defense the next day, and then you guys send us some questions, and then we'll get all of that in. But we want to get, like you said, we want to get Scott integrated.
Bubble guys.
We can do bubble. We can do bubble. We can do bubble as well. And then hopefully that'll carry us to OTAs. And once OTAs is over, we may be going to 1 day a week. We'll let you guys know. We'll be talking to the higher ups. But as always, guys, thank you guys. Please like, share, subscribe. Send us around. Law, you got it.
Yes, indeed. And remember, you're listening to the voices of Cowboys Collective, the 4 GOATs.
Give me my thing.
Come on with it. Yeah. Sounds of soft souls and hits and oldies. Come on.
Peace, y'all. Much love, y'all. It's my turn.